Dr. Zixthara's 4 eyes blinked in rapid succession as she reviewed the data streams one final time. The Galactic Council's most prestigious xenopsychology laboratory hummed with activity, its crystalline walls pulsing with bioluminescent displays, showing fear response patterns from 17 different species. Today would mark a historic achievement, the first comprehensive study of human terror responses. "The subject has arrived," announced her assistant, Krill, his tentacles dancing nervously across the control panel. "But I must express my concerns again, Doctor. The preliminary reports from human space are disturbing." Zixthara dismissed his worries with a wave of her primary appendage. "Nonsense. Fear is universal, Krill. The humans may have impressed the Council with their military prowess, but beneath all that bravado, they're simply another species with the same basic survival instincts as the rest of us." The laboratory's main chamber had been carefully designed to trigger primal terror responses. Shadows moved independently of their sources, gravity fluctuated in nauseating patterns, and subsonic frequencies that had reduced Rigelian warriors to quivering masses pulsed through the air. The walls occasionally bled a substance that smelled of each species' most ancient fears. For humans, they had synthesized the scent of decay and predator musk. Through the observation deck's reinforced viewing port, they watched as the human volunteer was escorted in. Marcus Chen, according to his file, a middle-aged engineer from Earth's asteroid mining colonies. Average height, unremarkable build, wearing simple civilian clothes that seemed almost primitive compared to the high-tech environment surrounding him. "Beginning baseline measurements," Krill announced, his voice tight with anticipation. The sensors immediately began recording biorhythms, neural activity, hormone levels, and electromagnetic field fluctuations. Dr. Zixthara leaned forward, her research notes ready. This data would finally explain how humans had managed to defeat the Korthax Empire despite being severely outgunned. Understanding their fear responses would provide crucial insight into their psychological warfare capabilities. The first phase commenced. The chamber's temperature dropped to near freezing while phantom shapes darted at the edges of vision. The gravity field began its disorienting dance, causing the floor to seem to tilt and shift. Most species would be showing elevated stress hormones by now. Marcus looked around with mild interest, then sat down cross-legged on the floor. "Curious," Zixthara muttered, checking her instruments. "His stress indicators are actually decreasing. Perhaps he's employing some kind of meditation technique to suppress fear responses." Phase 2 initiated with a vengeance. The walls began to whisper in languages that spoke directly to the subconscious mind, promising death and abandonment. Holographic predators materialized from the darkness. Amalgamations of every apex hunter humanity had ever feared, from saber-toothed cats to artificial intelligences run amok. Marcus yawned. "There must be some malfunction," Krill insisted, his tentacles now knotted with anxiety. "The readings show his heart rate is slowing, not accelerating." Zixthara's confidence began to waver as she initiated Phase 3 ahead of schedule, the chamber filled with the sound of screaming. Not random screams, but carefully crafted audio designed to mimic the cries of human offspring in distress. Simultaneously, the air filled with pheromone triggers that should have activated every protective instinct in the human genome. Marcus stretched, looked around at the chaos surrounding him, and began to lie down on the metal floor. "By the 7 moons," Zixthara breathed. He's actually relaxing." The sensors confirmed what seemed impossible. The human's brainwave patterns were shifting toward theta rhythms, the same patterns associated with deep relaxation and the onset of sleep. His breathing had become slow and regular, his muscle tension was at baseline levels, and his stress hormones were at the lowest readings they'd recorded since he'd entered the facility. "Doctor," Krill whispered urgently, "perhaps we should consider that the preliminary reports were accurate. Remember the Korthax debriefings? They claimed humans showed no fear even when facing certain death." Zixthara activated the final protocol, an option she'd hoped never to use. The chamber filled with a swirling vortex of every terror the galaxy's greatest minds could conceive. Temporal distortions made time itself seem to stutter and reverse. the air filled with the psychic screams of dying civilizations. Reality warped until up and down lost all meaning. Through it all, Marcus Chen began to snore. Impossible, Zixthera said, her voice barely a whisper. This scenario reduced Andromedan war chiefs to catatonic states. It triggered complete psychological breakdowns in cybernetic entities that don't even have organic fear responses. She stared at the sleeping human as understanding slowly dawned. Krill, pull up the subject's background file again. The data streams flowed across her visual field. It says here he's worked in asteroid mining for 15 years. Before that, he was a deep space maintenance technician. Prior to that, her voice trailed off as she read further. Prior to that, he spent 20 years as a parent of 3 human children. Krill's tentacles went rigid. Doctor, what exactly does parenting entail in human society? Zixthera continued reading, her 4 eyes widening with each detail. According to this, human offspring require constant supervision to prevent them from accidentally terminating themselves. They regularly attempt to consume toxic substances, climb dangerous heights, approach predators, and, oh, by the cosmic void, they do this for approximately 18 standard years per offspring. The implications hit her like a quantum torpedo. Krill, we've been approaching this all wrong. We assumed fear was about survival. But for humans, survival isn't about avoiding danger, it's about managing chaos. They don't fear the unknown. They're exhausted by the familiar. In the chamber below, Marcus stirred slightly, rolling over to find a more comfortable position on the metal floor. The swirling vortex of cosmic terror had become, for him, nothing more than a familiar background noise, like the sound of hyperspace engines or the gentle hum of life support systems that had lulled him to sleep on countless mining shifts. Doctor, Krill said quietly, should we wake him? Zixthera looked at her instruments one final time. Every reading confirmed the impossible truth. No, she decided. Let him rest. It appears we're the ones who need to learn something about fear. As she began drafting her report to the Galactic Council, Dr. Zixthera realized that humans weren't fearless because they were brave. They were fearless because the universe couldn't possibly throw anything at them that was worse than getting 3 toddlers ready for school while the coffee maker was broken and the space toilet was clogged. In the chamber, Marcus slept peacefully, dreaming of quiet Sunday mornings that might never come.